Welcome back. You're watching Morning Live. Now, the National Prosecuting Authority has welcomed Judge Thokozile Masipa's decision yesterday. Masipa granted the state leave to appeal against the conviction of paralympian Oscar Pistorius for culpable homicide. She, however, dismissed leave to appeal the 5-year jail sentence. To discuss this further, we're now joined by Nathi Mncube, spokesperson of the National Prosecuting Authority. Welcome to Morning Live. Thank you very much for your time. Was this decision what you guys expected?
Good morning, Valen, and good morning to the viewers. Look, we never expect anything when we go to court. I think what we do is to make sure that we prepare thoroughly, which we did. We went to court, we argued, and I think our arguments were very sound in law. And we are happy that we were able to, persuade the judge to see the matter in our favor. She
gave you guys you guys were successful in the appeal against the conviction, however, not in the sentence. But as I understand it, when it goes to the Supreme Court of Appeal, if that conviction does get overturned, it could have an effect on the sentence anyway.
Well, the position is that for every conviction on a murder charge, unless it's a premeditated murder, if it's a just murder, the provisions of the Minimum Sentence Act are applicable unless the court is persuaded to deviate. So the position would therefore be that if we are successful to appeal the conviction on culpable homicide, automatically the provisions of the Minimum Sentence Act will be applicable in as far as the sentence is concerned. But I must also indicate that, Valen, we, have considered perhaps to, take the matter further and petition the Supreme Court of Appeal in as far as the possession of ammunition charge is concerned, and also even on sentence, because there are no guarantees that will be successful to convince the Supreme Court of Appeal to convict Mr. Pistorius on a charge of murder. In the event that we are not successful, we'll be left with culpable homicide still, but we'll also feel that, the sentence that was imposed even for culpable homicide is too lenient. So we are considering whether we should indeed take the matter further with the view to see if we can also, convince the Supreme Court of Appeal to substitute this sentence that is now serving with a harsher one.
All right, so as it stands now, you guys will appeal against the conviction at the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein. We're expecting that next year. What exactly happens now? Does the whole case get reopened? Do we have a similar scene to what we saw earlier on this year?
Well, the procedure is that right now we have to file our papers with the registrar. Basically, it's the record of the case itself. We will then have to file our heads of argument at the time that will be given to us by the registrar of the Supreme Court of Appeal. The nature of the appeal is such that, it's not starting the case from scratch. So there won't be any witnesses that will be led. It's just the papers, or rather the documents, that will be presented before the Supreme Court of Appeal. And both parties, of course, will then be given an opportunity to go and argue, and the courts will then deliver judgment.
All right, Nathi, this is such an important topic. I wish we had some more time, but there's no doubt we'll be chatting to you a little bit again. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. And some of the important questions which will now be put forward will be, were the principles of dolus eventualis applied correctly? And was the correct application of legal principles pertaining to circumstantial evidence about Pistorius's multiple defences also applied properly? So lots of important things to come out of this appeal. And then, of course, now that we've heard from Nathi Mncube, the spokesperson of the National Prosecuting Authority, they are going to push for an overturn of that not guilty verdict for possession of ammunition, and they are looking at perhaps also appealing the sentence. All right, so that's how we conclude that very important topic. We'll have some more about those details in our news bulletin at the top of the hour.